much. I really appreciate your decision to take a course in summer, which is not easy. So everyone enjoy the summer time, including me. But this is the only regular course in summer in program engineering. Is there any other regular course in summer? Program engineering? It's my bad decision. But it will be good time to learn something, because the reason why I offer this course in summer is that I'm planning to make the one specific concentration in computer science department, especially for master students who are interested in the big data and the data analytics. So I try to offer the 3 courses that are related, relevant to the big data and data analytics. So this one is the first one, and followed by the NoSQL database in fall 2014, and last one will be the data mining course, which already has been offered several years, but this time I will use that course for the data analytics part. So those who are attending all these 3 courses will get the kind of certificate in the data analytics. As far as I don't decide the name, so it's kind of a concentration on your master program. Also, for PhD students, I have the 4 or 5 PhD students in this class. Definitely, as everybody knows, nowadays the big data systems are very popular and hard issue, not only for industry or application, but also for your research. So I'd like to have the PhD student to use this course for your future research. Unfortunately, this big data course is new for me, so I need to study every day. So even though I offered this course last semester, not last semester, last year for 2013, several students are here as a GA, but they took this course. So that's the reason I like to offer this course, and also I'm going to study the NoSQL database to offer in fall semester. That means you guys need to work harder than me, okay? For me, I can study only not for teaching, but for you, who knows, you will get a job in this area. If you go to life.com or careerbuilder.com, I need to type the heading or map reviews or the big data or data analytics. These are the popular keywords when you search a job, which means you have the bigger opportunity to get a job if you have the experience to do that. Taking the course is not enough. Okay? Definitely you guys need to work hard, much harder than me, to make this kind of topic for your skill and experience. Okay? So I think that you already got the syllabus. I'm not going to print out and hand out this kind of thing, but don't worry. All of the materials are available 2 sites. One is my class website, the teaching site. If you already took my course before, it's the same thing. So bridgeport.edu/here. This is my ID, so my email ID is jele@bridgeport.edu. If you go to this website, you can find the teaching, the link, hyperlink, then click it, then you can find the list of course that I'm offering, then finally, eventually you will find the website that is for this one. Okay, so first I'd like to introduce about this course, then today we will talk about the big data system, the introduction of the big data system. I believe most of you guys do not have a background in big data system, so today's lecture will be good for you. Before we start, first I'd like to offer, fortunately, first there are bad news and good news. Good news first. Bad news first. In summer, actually, the GA cannot be offered by the global engineering, which means I do not have any assistant who can help my course. But fortunately, there are two volunteers who already took this course to help this course in summer. So first, I'd like to introduce the Hamud and the Abdulrahman. They are the PhD student. You guys passed the yeah. But also good. Then are interested. The Hamud is doing the research on the big data system. He already published a paper regarding to the big data, so he can explore our work. So Abdulrahman, he is doing the research, even though that is the beginning stage of the research, but he also then starts the good grade and much more experience than me, so he can have all that. Especially, they will be in charge of the exercise lab. So I will explain about a little bit details about what's going on in summer, but most of the exercises will be organized by the Hamud and Abdullah.
Welcome everybody. I know we'll have fun time. It's actually really good, and I like it. You will love it actually if you work hard and try to understand everything, try to understand the data itself, the procedure. So Professor will take care of that, and I will support be for it.
And we're hoping that some of the PhD students will consider the big data area as a research area. And we really need some people to work with us in this area. It's very interesting, and it's a new research area that you can publish work a lot easier than other areas that have saturated publications.
Because it's new.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to work with you. And you have our contact information, email. You can email us asking for appointment. We can do it anytime like we can arrange that.
So because they are volunteer, so it's not paid GA shifted, unlike the normal GA. So I didn't put the location and office hour, not to bother him a lot, but if you want to get the help from him, you can email the first of you, then make our appointment. Or after, whenever we have exercise lab, after you guys finish exercise lab, they will be available. So you can ask them if you have any question. Also, they are usually available around the PhD cubicle area. Right? Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you. You guys can do that. Okay. So this is the title is the first. It's a 651X. X means it's an experimental course. I'm not sure whether this course can be a permanent course or not. It depends on your response. Okay. If I have only a couple of students next semester, it will be just a temporary course. It depends on the performance of the discourse. But hopefully, I'd like to make the discourse as a permanent. Then eventually, as I said, I'd like to make the one specific concentration in MSSCS, the computer science at the master. I think the technical management already put the name of the data analytics, the concentration, something like that, with this course, but unfortunately this course focuses on the computer science and engineering, not the technical management. It's a different perspective. Technical management would like to see the big data as a business issue, okay, or data analytics. But as computer science or computer engineering student and faculty, we'd like to see this topic as the part of computer science and computer engineering. So which means we are going to more focus on the system is temporal. Okay? But that doesn't mean that we will ignore the data analytics part. We will also cover the sub part of the data analytics among the series of the big data courses. Okay. So this is a big data system analytics, but we are going to more focus on the big data system rather than the analytics part in this summer. This course actually is supported by Cloudera. Anyone who heard about the Cloudera? Yeah. What is that?
It's a company that offers the cloud computing services.
Yeah, cloud computing services.
Like infrastructure.
Infrastructure, which means actually the we will learn a lot about Hadoop systems, Hadoop Foundation. So Hadoop Foundation is the part of the Apache. You know the Apache Foundation, they are open source. The group, so it's a free, which means. So just like that, the Hadoop is the free software open source project. But open source is not always good news, right? The problem is when you have problem, there's no the customer suffer or something like that, right? So to address that problem, part of the Apache part of the Hadoop, the project members, they founded this company to make the Hadoop big data system as a commercialized software. But since they are coming from the open source project, they provide a lot of material and software as a free software. So we have an agreement, mutual agreement with the Cloudera to utilize the material and the software provided by the Cloudera. So this is partly supported by the Cloudera academic partnership. So for example, we are going to use the Cloudera, Hadoop, and the MapReduce system for your exercise lab. So they provide a virtual machine. So during the exercise lab, you will have your own system, big data system, based on the virtual machine. We will use the VM player or the virtual dock by the developer. So it will be available in the 163. And also, in addition to the Cloudera, so this time actually expired, but last semester, we get the credit to utilize the Amazon Web Services. What is the Amazon Web Service? Anyone who ever used the AWS?
We used it, yeah.
This is the
clusters, created some clusters.
your answer, right? It's the cloud service. It's a cloud service. If you never heard about what is a cloud service or what is Amazon, I use a lot Amazon for online shopping, but not for AWS. It's the same mechanism. So you can get the computing power from online. Just like you are selecting a group or movie from Kindle, okay? You can select pick up computing resource, computer power from online. That is AWS. Okay? So, but this time I'm going to submit once again to get the credit of the AWS. If we can get such a credit, we will have an exercise platform with Amazon Web Services. It's not very expensive, so but there's no. It's not a problem of the cost of the AWS, but there is no way to reimburse in case you are using your credit card because AWS require the credit card to open the account. So it's not easy. So until we get the credit or the promotion from the Amazon. So in case we can get, so we will have the exercise lab practice AWS, which means we don't have to build a system, we don't have to purchase the computer, we don't have to use the virtual image. Just log in AWS and set up your big data system, okay, online, okay? That is AWS, but you need to pay, right? if you do not have the credit or the promotion code, you need to pay by the usage, how many hours. Okay? So we will discuss more in details about that, such as housing, computing. Yes.
Can we get an image of a copy of the image of the?
I will give.
Oh.
I will explain a little bit details about how exercise like will or work. Okay? So I will explain. And textbook. So as you know, the big data system and the Hadoop. If you never heard of the Hadoop, don't worry. You will learn. You will learn a lot about the Hadoop or MapReduce later. But I believe you know what is big data. So, but everybody knows this is a new area. This is still developing. So nobody knows where it goes, how much big, how much in fact the big data system, big data area, big data research impact on the research or industry. Nobody knows. Which means there's no textbook like the traditional computer science subject. Everybody already took the database or operating system. What is the textbook for the database? I'm using that, right? Or operating system is the dinosaur, right? Computer architecture algorithm, there are very well-known textbooks, but not in big data system. It's every day changing. So it's very hard to select or decide one of the groups as a textbook. But I believe this one is the most popular and well organized the book. I cannot say this is the textbook style or even this is close to the reference book. Or cookbook. What is the cookbook? Cook.
Is it the toy?
Toy? You don't have to read it, right? Whenever you read, whenever you need a recipe, right? When you are cooking. So you can refer this book. It's kind of such a, okay? You don't have to read it from beginning to end, okay? But this is kind of Bible. So every time, even for me, when I'm preparing the course or lecture, if I'm not sure what how, so I read this book as a textbook. So I strongly suggest to purchase. I cannot say in this classroom there is other way to get this one as a free. It's totally up to you. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? So it's totally up to you. But I like the paper copy. So that's the reason I ordered this one. But if you love the PDF version, no problem. Or if you have this is a third edition. The title is Hadoop, the definitive guide. The definitive guide, the Hadoop is Tom White, one of the famous person in the Hadoop Foundation. And this is the third edition. I don't think there is the newest edition after this. So this is the latest one. But if you have the second edition, in terms of the main architecture, not much different. But for MapReduce, we have the new version of the MapReduce. So I suggest to have this one. But if you already purchased the second edition, no problem to use for this course. So this is the main textbook. There are many available. The reference book, online, and the bookstore, everywhere you can use any of them. But this one will be used for administrative part. So it's the Hadoop operation. Okay? It's very similar as the definitive guide, but we'll focus on the administrative because we are going to use the two virtual images in our exercise. One part is developer, which means how to code, how to use the big data system as a programmer or as a developer. In addition to that, we will learn how to configure, how to install, how to set up the big data system. In other words, it's the administrative perspective. At that time, this will help you to understand the Hadoop system. Any questions so far? do I need to purchase these two books? I cannot answer. It's too early. Okay, but I will use this book throughout the semester. But that doesn't mean I'm going to teach this course the page by page. No, this is kind of a cookbook or the reference book. Grading policy. Don't pay attention too much the distribution of the grading policy as usual. If you already took my course, it will be changing based on your performance. Even this course is not the fixed course. So even though I'm offering 2 exams in this summer, but it can be changed. So don't pay attention too much this one. Even distribution. So if I apply this distribution for your grading, not many of you will get the A or A minus. Many of them will be failed. Okay. Because many of you are, most of you are the graduate student, I don't think that you will be cheating in this class, but just in case I find any cheating or any suspicious thing, I will report to the department directly, okay? In submission or any exam or any program. Do not copy and paste others. It's a waste of your time, even waste of my time and GA. Okay? So, this is a summer course. It's not condensed course, okay? The total number of hours are the same as the regular course, okay? The regular course, regular semester is 16 weeks. Every week is how many hours? 2.5 hours. So summer, how many weeks? 8 weeks. How many hours? 5 hours. It's the same thing. So, which means you need to work harder than regular semester. So it's not condensed, it's not compact course. We will cover the exactly same topic, same activity as the regular courses. So divide by the 8 weeks. So there are 2 columns that you need to keep an eye on. One is the lecture, it's covered by topic, covered topic, and lab. So this course will have, I think, roughly 40%. 35 to 40% of this course will be exercise lab. Because I'm going to focus on this course in the practical part, not theoretical part. Because the majority of this course, the majority of the students in this course are interested in how to use the big data system for my research or for my future job, something like that. So 35 to 40% will be exercise lab. So in case we have the schedule, the lab, you don't have to come to here. So lab will be performed in the Tech 163. Everybody knows there is the 160. So just crossing my office, okay? It's the technology building. There is a cubicle area for PhD student. It's next to the cubicle area. So 163 has a software for virtual machine. It's a VM player. So I will give the 2 DVD. One is for developer, which will be used for exercise lab 1, 2, 3, 4. Then exercise lab 5 and 6 will be based on second DVD. So for the first DVD image, you will have your own the big data system based on Hadoop. But it's a pseudo cluster. If you do not understand what is a cluster, don't worry, we will discuss a lot. Cluster means it's a group of computer. But for the developer Hadoop system, it has only one node, one computer for the cluster. So it tries to mimic the cluster, but you can focus on your programming or setup, something like that. So, in addition to, on the other hand, another DVD for the virtual machine, virtual image for administrator, you will use 3 or 4 computers with your classmate to set up real cluster. Even 3 or 4 computers, 3 or 4 nodes are not enough to build a real cluster. Real means big enough cluster, at least 20, 30. So those number of computers are required, but 3 is the minimum to set up the cluster, real cluster. So you will use that degree to perform the exercise lab for administrator. So we will have 11 times of the exercise, but the last one for AWS, it depends on whether we can get the credit for AWS one. And so we have the lecture sometimes the lab. So in case there are scheduled the lab, there is no lecture, you can go to the 163 and G, A, and E will mostly GA, and I'm going to assist you for the exercise lab. Yes?
People need time for the labs exercise.
No.
Doesn't it cost time?
For your practice, yes, you can do that whenever you want. Yes. But lecture is not on demand. Okay? So it's a fixed time for the lecture and the exercise lab. But for your practice, you can do anytime. So I will give the DVD. So I asked last semester, I asked the student to return the DVD, but most of the students didn't. I need to copy once again. Okay, so that is the lecture and the lab. So first lab will be May 29th, okay, next week, Thursday. Okay, so please mark your schedule. Don't miss the exercise lab. Actually, if you take the lecture from the Cloudera, only for developing, only for administrator, you need to pay 9,000 for 4 days lecture, or 3 days. It's really, okay? Their lectures and exercise is very simple, simpler than this one. So even though you registered this course, I believe worthwhile. But it doesn't work. It's not worthwhile for my compensation. Okay, the last column is a comment. It's for your activity, classroom activity, including reading assignment or exercise lab. Sometimes the GA and me will assign the homework, okay, after exercise lab. So first reading assignment will be the May 27th is the next week, just a week later. The reading assignment, usually you read the paper, then summarize, and submit to where? Canvas. So all of you guys are enrolled to the Canvas. So if not, why don't you check it again? I already checked all of the registered students in the Canvas. So we will use Canvas for any submission, including the reading assignment, homework, and project. Yes?
Is there any particular format for the swearing or it's
No. So, do not use the font size 20. Just reasonable. The reason why I'm doing reading assignment in this class is for your preview of this class. I don't expect you guys will read the textbook in advance. If you can do that, that's much better. And also sometimes I will give the very strict the format of the writing to improve your writing skill or experience. But this time, no, I do not focus on the such a topic. But reasonably, the format, and any questions so far? So in this class, we'd like to cover first week mostly introduction of big data system, specifically Hadoop system. Okay, so pretty much today and Thursday we will talk about the introduction part. Then next week we will learn about the map reduce programming. Anyone who heard about the map reduce? And you did before?
No.
No? That's good. If you don't, probably you will be better than me. So we will learn about the map reduce. If you do not know what is a map reduce, don't worry. We will discuss what is that. Then followed by the exercise lab. Most of the exercise lab are followed by the topic, same topic in the lecture. Okay? So don't worry. So even though you never heard about the topics in the exercise lab, it will be covered in advance. Okay? Then week 3, so advanced map reduce and some other the components in the programming in exercise lab. And week 4, the Hadoop administration. Okay? Then we have midterm. And also final. But final exam, I'm thinking about the cancel the final exam. Instead, I'd like to make the group project. Okay? So that's one thing we need to discuss before we end this class. I will talk about it later. For midterm, it's a written exam. The reason why I have midterm exam is anyway I need to grade, okay, your work. So exam is the best way to grade. Okay. Then the second half of this course will be we will discuss about the Hadoop ecosystem. And what is the ecosystem? Ecosystem is our life system. Similarly, there is a life system, big data life system in Hadoop. So we will talk about such a thing, including Hive and Pig, H-based, and some data mining techniques. Okay. Then finally, some project demo. Okay. So all lecture notes and papers are available in the link. All lecture notes are available on campus, not the class website. The reason is that because of the mutual agreement with the Cloudera, many of the contents in my class are actually owned by the Cloudera. So I'm using their class material, which should not be available for public. So all of you guys can download from the campus, okay, as a PDF file, as well as the exercise lab document. It's more than 100 pages. I don't recommend to print out all of this. Okay, you can use the PDF version for your study. Okay. Yes.
Professor, you mentioned that the book is available like as a PDF.
I don't know. It's up to you. So my answer is using Google.
You say all the materials it's
Available. Yes.
all the materials it's supposed to find out, right?
Not all of them. Okay.
Most of them.
Some of them.
So can we use them up?
Can we use
Use
what?
the same material, virtual version that you see
For what?
for myself.
Oh, sure.
That possible.
Yeah, you can use it. Actually, you can download from the website. Their website. But this virtual machine is modified for educational purpose, for your exercises.
So you only have like an image of that.
Yes,
you
I
cannot
agree.
access the Cloudera accounts.
I do not have the Cloudera account. So actually
Image.
I have an account to download such a material. And I modify them. Okay, so it's not allowed to open to the public.
Okay.
That's the reason I put all the material to the cameras except the virtual image. Virtual image will be given by as a format of the DVD. Any questions so far? Then before we start the lecture, I'd like to know about yourself, okay? Because I expect this course will be opportunity for your research. As you know, this is a 600 level course, so this is different from the other course or other programming courses. So I'd like to give the 1 minute, less than a minute, to introduce yourself. So what you are doing, or what you are interested, what's the expectation of this course. And especially if you are not in computer science, whether you guys have the programming experience, especially for 2D. One thing is this, another one is Java. This is very important to all of Hadoop system are coded by the Java. So if you do not know the Java, it will be very tough to catch this. But some of you guys do not never use the Java, but most of you guys already use a couple of times. Hello world. Right? As long as you can compile the Java using the JavaScript, is fine. Also, if you ever use the Eclipse, it's also fine. Also, if you understand the concept of object-oriented programming, that will be fine. But if you never use the programming, especially for object-oriented programming or the Java, it will be tough, which means you need to work very, very hard. So I'd like to know about yourself. And for Linux and Unix environment, how many of you have the experience on Unix or Linux? 23. So that's the user nowadays, because many of our curriculum are focused on the Windows-based programming or Windows-based system. But if you go to the industry, if you join the industry as a job or whatever, many of the systems are based on the Unix or Linux environment. Okay? Not Windows environment, which means you should be familiar with the shared programming or share the environment as an interface. Okay? Simply it's a command line interface. We are going to use such a shared programming as our interface for programming or use the Java. So for this part, I'm not going to teach how to use it, but I'd like to introduce a basic command, especially if you do not have the background in this part. VI editor will be good benefit for you. Okay, not only for this class, but also any other programming or the computing environment. If you know how to use the VI, what is the VI? VI,
It's basically
editor. Okay. Do you think it's old fashioned? It's very, very powerful, actually. Okay. If you can use the VI, you don't want to use other Microsoft editor or the Internet whatever. This is a very, very powerful actually. So also, if you want to show up your experience in computing or developer, at the time you can show the bunch of the VI command or the macro. Then everybody will believe you have the experience on computing or the programming. Really, it looks very, very nice. So which means why don't you try? There are a bunch of the online even website to give the real experience how to use the VI. Okay? Or there are several different versions of that. Like the Pico, the project Pico provides a similar interface as a VI or VIM or Emacs and ACS Emacs. There are a bunch of others. That is a variance of the VI. Okay? So VI, I probably introduced a little bit, just a taste of the BI editor, but definitely it's not enough to know how to use them. Okay? Otherwise, if you do not know how to use the BI, you need to do a bunch of different ways, like a copy and paste, using the notepad, right? Because we are going to use the virtual machine, we have player. So in Windows, you use the MS Word or some other text editor and copy and paste from time to time. That will be confused. So meanwhile, by next week, why don't you try to get this? Not perfectly Java, at least how to compile. Compile, okay? Using Java C. Because the system that we are going to discuss throughout the semester will be entirely based on Java. Okay? So even programming or repair system had languages is the based on the Java. So I'd like to know about your experience. Also, if you are involved any existing or ongoing project that are relevant to big data system or the data analytics, just let me know. Okay. Yes.
The Unix installation would use like for administrative part.
It's not only for administrator, but anyone.
No, I mean, but how
For
would you
example,
use
the
it?
command line interface, you can use the CMD on Windows, right? Same interface, okay? So like if you want a list of the file, LS, or process, PS, or DF, a file, this is the file, and a bunch of other command
In this
using
course, we will be using it for in this course.
Yes, we will use the operating system.
Linux,
Ubuntu.
So Linux,
Ubuntu,
no, not Ubuntu.
uh,
It's not much different. I will let you know the later. So I forgot, not later. So we have the other one, but shell programming, we will use the basic command, okay? There are header version on Windows, but they actually had a big data system are developed under Windows, Linux environment. Then for migrate to Windows, there are a bunch of problems. Nobody uses actually the Windows-based header.
so the virtual machine's operating system is based on Linux.
Yeah,
Linux
Linux.
system.
Not Windows.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Fatima? Yes.
Should I introduce myself?
Oh yeah.
My name is Fatima. I'm a PhD student. I like database, but till now I don't have any interest in
Mm.
So
What about your research? Are you are doing any research?
still I need to start it.
Are you already started?
Yeah.
So what about the programming? The Java, do you know?
No, I'm familiar with C#, C++,
C#?
yeah, with Java.
So if you are familiar with the C#, the object-oriented system, yeah, it's not very difficult. But probably I'm familiar with command line interface only. So I do not use the ID, but there is a way to compile and run the program using IDs. For example, the Eclipse, but I will introduce, okay, then I probably use the command line interface for low level. Okay, good. Okay. And Harley? Yes.
I'm interested, my interests are like big data, cloud computing, cloud security. I've used like multiple object-oriented languages, like C#, C++, and Java. And my expectation for this class is actually to find like a topic, a big data interesting topic that I can use for my research.
So are you doing any ongoing research right now?
I was doing about cloud security.
Cloud security?
Yes.
With whom? Who is-
Professor Lady.
Professor
Yeah,
Lady.
that research has finished.
Yeah, also I think the security in the Hadoop system, the data is also, it's a very, very new, but will be very, very critical.
Yeah, it's like
So I think you don't have to,
even the papers are
Yeah.
limited. The
Yes.
number of papers are very limited in the area of big data security. But I think there are some people are using like data analytics for security.
For security, right.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading.
even though you do not put your identity in your data, but somebody can guess your identity using big data.
Right.
Okay? So,
But that's like the security is not for my dissertation. This was
okay. And so,
Yes.
yes.
My name is Salvador Shimani. I'm interested in the computer science. And actually, I took this class, as you said, it's really simple. And I wanted to see what's new in this area. I'm familiar with C++ and C Sharp.
You never used the Java?
I know, but I know how to.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big problem if you know the C++.
I just work in, as you say, it's like small programs, but I'm familiar with a lot of the C++.
And are you doing any research?
Actually, I took this course to see some things in my mind, but I haven't studied yet.
Okay. Majid?
Yes.
Yes.
Which this I'm interested in security.
Security.
My target actually to take this class because I'm interested in big data, security analysis, and how to know if there's or how to detect if there's a fraud or intrusion detection from a given data.
Actually, the main reason why the big data system or Hadoop system was born is for such a thing. Fraud detection or the network log or DDoS. Okay? We have a bunch of log data from the server. Then we try to process them, analyze, and get the information from such a log data. At the time, this is perfect system.
So, Professor, the challenges in that issue is like how big the data is and how can you process the data. This is the challenge.
Yeah, first challenge is that we will discuss about that challenge. So big data and also how to analyze.
How
Okay?
analyze it.
So using the RDBMS, not easy. So that's actually one of the main reasons why we have such a big data system.
I read a lot about this topic, but probably they don't have an algorithm about the big data. We need algorithm to know if there's a fraud or function. I believe this is the challenge.
Yes. So I think that there are ongoing research to apply the existing such algorithm to big data system and how to migrate, how to change the algorithm. Okay. And do you have any background in Java or the Unix system?
I like Linux. I'm
Uh-huh.
a fan of Linux and Linux.
That's good. And Arun Sai? Yes.
I'm
You are a computer engineer,
yeah, I'm
right?
computer
Did you take any programming course?
C++.
C++?
Yeah, so C programming, but I'm not familiar with Java. So this- And I had some work experience with the traditional database.
Traditional
JS
database.
So so that's what brought me into taking this course. I was always interested in how the data is, how the companies or how other organizations use data to take intelligence information and do something with it. I mean, I wanted to be knowing the data analytics part of it, but here the big data is an aspect of the computer engineering, so I wanted to take it.
Have you ever used the Linux-based system?
Not much. Ubuntu I use, but
Even? I think there's a CentOS. So we are using the CentOS. Western? Western, yes.
PhDs.
Mhm.
My interest is data warehousing.
Data warehousing.
So data warehousing is
difference is almost the same
Yeah.
problem.
So that's why I'm trying to know about big data and see how I can work in this one in the PhD presentation.
One of the interesting topic that I can suggest you is just you don't have just one thing that I thinking. So there are many companies who implement a data warehousing system in their enterprise system. The problem challenge is how to utilize. Everybody says the big data system is very important, critical. Then their problem is how to use big data system as a part of their data warehousing system. Because in their data warehousing system, one of the big challenges is the money. Because their data size is growing up, and they need to have, for example, the one more instance, one more server for Oracle or Informix for their data warehousing system. Even their performance is not good enough. Can I migrate this system for the big data? Because everybody says big data system can handle big data. So, but there's no the rule or the regulation or the process to migrate such a thing. So you will see some of the examples